Over the last few days, the deaths of several children in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan due to kidney failure following the alleged consumption of toxic, poisonous, contaminated cough syrup has raised serious concerns across the country. Now, the Central Drug Regulator has initiated a risk-based inspection of the drug manufacturing units in 6 states, collecting samples, including that of cough syrups, antibiotics, and several other such medicines. Following which one cough syrup, called Riff, has been banned in several states. State governments have now stepped in. There have been at least 5 states that have now gone ahead and cracked down on this cough syrup. But is there reason to be concerned about the medicines that we're consuming? Let's run you through first our detailed report on the investigation that's underway into these deaths.
A medicine meant to cure cough has proved fatal for innocents. It was poison packed in cough syrup bottles. Multiple children are dead in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, all victims of a single medicine, called Riff cough syrup. According to the lab reports, the cough syrup contained diethylene glycol, which is an industrial solvent and can cause permanent kidney damage. Manufacturer Sri San Pharmaceuticals license has been cancelled, but after the damage is already done.
कोल्ड ड्रिंक सिरप को लेकर के अलर्ट जारी हुए हैं कि उसकी बिक्री कहीं भी हो रहेगी तो रोक लगाई जाएगी। उसी के क्रम में हम लोगों का आज अभियान चल रहा है। कोल्ड ड्रिंक सिरप या सेरेन बायोटेक जो तमिलनाडु की कंपनी है, उसका कोई भी सिरप अगर मिलता है तो उसको सीज करते हुए नियमानुसार कार्रवाई की जाएगी।
The veteran doctor in Chindwara who prescribed the medicines has been arrested, but now IMA has backed the doctor and demanded his immediate release. IMA claims that the doctor was not at fault and it was the responsibility of government and agencies who gave clean chit to the cough syrup.
Punishing your doctor for giving these medications to children. This is from the government pool, isn't it? These medicines have been approved at the end of the day. Where does the buck stop?
Why is doctor responsible for this? Prerogative of the government to see what of the medicines they are supplying into the government depot. Whether they are genuine, adulterated, what not. How far the doctor is responsible for this? He's not responsible.
Is the arrest of doctor merely an eyewash, especially when the regulators and government officials are taking no blame?
Over a dozen young kids in India have lost their lives, all related, linked, so far allegedly, to a cough syrup. Not one particular brand, not one particular company, but combinations that exist all across. So what exactly is the story? We know that at least 5 states across India have now banned cold Riff. Now, cold Riff is a concoction of medicines said to be those which could be dangerous for kids below the age of 4. In fact, international guidelines go on to say that below the age of 6 as well. So what is it exactly that you should be doing? Well, number one, ask your pediatrician. Do not give any cough syrup to your child without consulting with your pediatrician. Number two, question authorities. Ask your doctors, ask your politicians as well, as we've been doing right here on India Today, asking why exactly has it taken them so long to respond. So why was India prescribing it? Why didn't we wake up to this earlier? And importantly, even after all these days, why have only the doctor, who was only prescribing what is already on the state list, why is the pharmacist, who was only procuring again the drug already on the state list, why haven't we seen any action being taken against any of the pharma companies, any of the drug controllers, and also importantly from our health ministers, from states and from India, in the union capital as well, to understand why did it take so long for them to respond.
Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra have banned the cough syrup. With the blame game on, where does the buck finally stop? Bureau Report, India Today.
So you've got now a doctor who's been arrested right now. But the biggest question that arises when these kind of deaths happen is what happened to regulation? Where is the regulation in this country to check whether these medicines are safe for use or not? So let's break down for you exactly how regulation works in this country. And in that case, you kind of get a sense of who really is to blame. As far as these safety systems are concerned, you first got the Central Drug Control Authority, which checks the formula, which goes ahead and gives approval for any drug. It also shapes the regulation around many of these drugs. After a central drug body does this, you then have a state drug controller as well. And that's where they come in. The next step, as far as the state drug controller is concerned, is they go ahead and issue licenses for the release of these drugs or medicines. They are responsible for field visits, for checking regularly, by the way, these factories. We don't know if it's happening regularly, which is one of the concerns that's constantly being raised as well. They're also responsible for collecting samples and periodically testing these drugs to see if the formula that was first proposed is what is still being used, so that there's no harm, or in this particular case, there's no poison substance that's, overloaded upon or overdosed on. And then you have government labs that are also set up for this specific purpose of testing each of these medicines, their quality, what they're made up of, and importantly, to check for contamination. Now, the question is, when you look at all of these steps, the question is whether any of this was actually followed, because it clearly looks like we have a robust system, center, state, government labs, and at the district level as well, where you have these drug inspectors. They're supposed to do random tests, random batch tests at that. They're also supposed to go ahead and track if there's any reaction being reported anywhere in the country to any drug. Now, if all of these steps, from the central authority to the state authority, these government labs, and even these district drug inspectors, if they did their job, would we have seen what we've seen right now in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan? And where's the accountability as far as these regulatory bodies are concerned? I want to now bring in our health editors on this broadcast. We've got Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor and Sneha Mordani with me here in the studio. And you can trust us here on India Today to get you every single angle on the story, because we're the only network, honestly, to have two fully informed health editors with us to explain what we're seeing right now. But Sonal, I'd like to focus right now on accountability here. What do you make of the fact that we've seen a doctor being arrested and all these regulatory bodies that I've just listed, no action?
Scapegoat. I think that's pretty much one-word answer to what we've seen in developments that happened, Akshita, over the past 7 days. 7 days, over a dozen lives lost, young kids. But the question that every parent wants to know, on what killed them, what led to this, we still do not know. Excellent graphic there that you also showed on the entire chain of events on how it works. But what do we know at the end of these 7 days? That one, we have no action against the drug makers. We have no action or no accountability fixed against the state governments who cleared it. And also, apart from just setting out an advisory perhaps, or asking people not to prescribe it only after the deaths by the center. But what have we heard from the government so far? What have we heard from them? That, well, parents end up overdosing their kids. What have we heard? Action against the doctor who has 14 years of experience and said, I was only doing what is already there in the advisory. And you have suspension of the pharmacist who's saying, it was my job, a list was given to me, this was to be procured and sold, and I did that. So what does it tell you at the end of the day? That we, despite over a dozen deaths, still do not know what happened. Was it adulteration? Yep. Or is there a problem with the whole concoction? Very quickly, what is also important to understand here is that 19 test samples were picked up overall. So far, we've only got the result of 10, out of which 1 has been found contaminated. That one contaminant is what is used in paints and oils, etc. It is so lethal that it has taken away lives. In fact, just to quote, this is not the first time. Last time, 69 kids, because of the same problem, were killed in Gambia. 18 were killed in Uzbekistan, all linked to these Indian-made syrups. That time as well, in 2023, back in February of 2025 as well, a lot of noise was made, a lot of questions were asked, but yet we have, over a dozen lives lost. And right now, you know what they say, when nobody is to be blamed, then everyone is to be blamed, and that seems to be the case here.
If everyone's to be blamed, why are we not seeing action? Why are we not seeing a crackdown? Something like this is spreading alarm across the country. I, for one, Sneha, if I think now of consuming cough syrup, I'm going to think twice. And I bet every single person in the country is currently doing that, thinking, look, if we've got a cough, we might as well just go ahead and not have cough syrup. We'll, take our time to heal from it, but rather than trust these medicines. So how do I know what's safe to consume anymore?
That's what, that's the worrying bit here, Akshita, like in the sense that the trust for medicines in the country is lost. Now, India produces one of the best generic medicines in the world. We are selling it to countries like the US, for example. There is no problem as far as the quality of the medicine is concerned. Yes, contamination is a big issue. Karur, for example, has been used for years together. It's not a new medicine that has been brought into the system, and that's why it is suspect. The fact is that this particular batch was in all likelihood contaminated with DEG, and I'm going to, stick my neck out and say that this is perhaps a DEG contamination, because it's happened in the past with the same pharmaceutical company that Sonal just mentioned in incidents in the past, which also saw the licenses getting suspended of the same company based out of Chennai, Sri Sen Pharmaceuticals. But the sad bit here is that there is no question mark that's being raised on them, no questions being asked of them. As far as you and I are concerned, when it comes to consuming cough syrups, the government's instructions, the advisory is clear: none required for children below the age of 5. If the condition is so bad, then do consult a doctor at least below the age of 2. You do not require to give cough syrups. Also, I'd like to tell you, reading labels is important. Codeine is something that you must look out for. If you are in fact buying a cough syrup, certainly you have to check with the doctor on a prescription. Learn how to ask these questions of a doctor. Why are you giving me a cough syrup which has codeine? Is it absolutely essential? It's it's an opioid at the end of the day. What about DXM, which was there in the cough syrup, which was found in Rajasthan? Again, it is associated with heart problems and hallucinations. So is that absolutely essential? These are questions that need to be asked. Certainly do not buy over-the-counter medicines is what doctors are now advising, that if you do have cough, try these methods that we've been talking about, keeping yourself hydrated, using things from the kitchen, honey, ginger, the old things that we would do in the past as well. Continue doing them. And if at all you are miserable, you haven't slept for nights together, then consult a doctor and buy a cough syrup only under medical supervision. I'd also like to say a common mistake that many people make, and I'm also guilty of it, is that we kind of overdose, on cough syrup, and that is something that we have to be very careful of, because there's reason why the doctor is asking for the age and the weight of your child on the prescription. Also, if the doctor says take this for 3 days and then come back if it's not okay, then do not make those 4 days. If by the end of 3 days, if the child is not okay, then go back to the doctor. It's important to point out that these aren't just cough syrups that are used by children. It's also used by adults. For example, the ambulance driver, for example, tried using it, if I'm not mistaken, and he also fell ill, to check whether this cough syrup is problematic or not. So it can cause problems in adults as well. Certainly under medical supervision, to assure our viewers, and this is not just one syrup, there are many more syrups that can be contaminated. I have to tell you that regularly we get notifications from the Health Ministry on the surveys that they do and random checks that they keep doing, and they tell us about what kind of, about the number of contaminated medicines that they have seized. So it's a process which is ongoing, but this time around, clearly there's a big lapse.
Awareness is key, but I'll say this much, that this has been a wake-up call for all of us about what kind of medication we're consuming and how important it is to know all that you need to know about that particular medication. And also, hopefully, a wake-up call for authorities on the kind of regulation that is needed in this country and whether it's right up to the mark as far as international standards also go. But the most information that's coming out there from what Sonal and Sneha have told us is that we all need to be aware of what really we're consuming. Maybe that's the only thing we can do in the face of the kind of regulation that we're seeing, and despite that, these kind of horrifying incidents. Thanks very much, Sonal and Sneha, for joining us here on this broadcast. Unfortunately, and we want to put the focus on the fact that we've seen dozens of children dying as a result of consumption of the suspected toxic cough syrup. It should have ideally been relief for a common cold. Who would have thought that it would actually turn into a killer? So many of these families in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan are now suffering the brunt of merely consuming cough syrup. They've lost their little children as a result. Ravish Pal Singh is joining us from Chhindwara. He filed that report speaking to so many of those families. Ravish, heartbreaking really what these families are going through. But there's still a big question mark on these suspected contaminated cough syrups, on whether it was an overdose, what was the doctor's role, the pharmacist's role here?
as far now, there is no sign of overdose being reported in Madhya Pradesh, although the government has now suspended many senior drug officials into this matter. But we have those family members whose little ones are no more with them now. और आप बताइए कि 2 साल की बच्ची थी आपकी और उसके बाद जो कुछ भी हुआ, तो दोषी किसे मानते हैं आप? क्या वो डॉक्टर दोषी है या वो दवा कंपनी दोषी है जिसने सिरप में मिलावट की थी?
सर दोषी दोनों हैं, डॉक्टर भी दोषी है, कंपनी।
कई लोग कह रहे हैं कि डॉक्टर तो बड़े अच्छे हैं, वहाँ पे बहुत सारे लोग उनके ट्रीटमेंट के लिए आते हैं और इतने साल से प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं, तब कुछ नहीं हुआ, आज ये हो गया।
सर वो बात सही है कि काफ़ी सालों से वो प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं, लेकिन मेरा ये कहना है कि जब आपको अगस्त में पता चल गया था ये साइरेप की वजह से 1 मौत और 2 मौत हो चुकी है, उसके बाद भी आपने 4-5 बच्चों को वही प्रिस्क्राइब किया और आगे भी कंटिन्यू, मेरे को यहाँ तक नॉलेज है, जहाँ तक मुझे पता चला कि उन्होंने ये साइरेप कम से कम 12-13 बच्चों को लिखा है और जिसमें से 7-8 बच्चों की मौत भी हो चुकी है। तो एक के बाद एक कंटिन्यू देना वही साइरप। और सबसे ये भी पूछा, हमारे यहाँ बच्चे से ये पूछा गया था कि इसने टॉयलेट करी कि नहीं करी, साइरप पिलाने के बाद पता देखना कि टॉयलेट हो रहा है कि नहीं उससे। जब दूसरे दिन नहीं हुआ, उल्टी करने लगी, तो हम ले गए थे बच्चे को, तो डॉक्टर ने उसका चेकअप किया, कहा इसका किडनी फेल हो गया, आप नागपुर ले जा लीजिए। हमें ऐसा अंदाजा भी नहीं था कि हम नागपुर लेके तो जा रहे हैं, लेकिन वापस उसकी सिर्फ बॉडी लेके आएंगे।
पोस्टमार्टम के लिए भी प्रशासन के लोग कल आपके पास आए, पोस्टमार्टम के लिए आपने फिर बॉडी निकाली थी?
जी हाँ, छिंदवाड़ा
बताया अब तक?
जी अभी तो कुछ जानकारी नहीं दी है। डीएम साहब कल आए थे, उनके अनुग्रह पे परिवार वालों की सहमति के उपरांत ही सबका परीक्षण करवाने के लिए हमने सहमति दी है। छिंदवाड़ा के 4 डॉक्टरों ने उनका सब परीक्षण कर रहे हैं, अभी उसकी रिपोर्ट हम लोग के तक मालूम नहीं हुई कि
जब लेके गए थे उसे ट्रीटमेंट के लिए, फिर आप लोगों ने सोचा था कि वहाँ से अब वापस नहीं?
ऐसा तो कभी किसी ने नहीं सोचा था। हम तो ये खुशी लेके गए थे कि हमारी बच्ची और अच्छी स्थिति में घर परिवार में वापस लौट आए।
हम चाह रहे सर बच्ची की, सर हमारी
from a cough, unfortunately, they've passed away. So imagine what those families are really going through. Ravish, thanks for that report. I'm just cutting across now to breaking news that's coming in. We've got a reaction coming in from the Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister, who's promised stricter action against whoever is responsible for the deaths of a dozen children. Now, the Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister, Mohan Yadav, has also confirmed that 3 samples out of the 19 that were taken out have failed the quality test. But was this test done a bit too late? Shouldn't have this been done earlier to have avoided this kind of a tragedy? The Chief Minister says that whoever is responsible, they will be brought to book. Let's listen in to what the Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Mohan Yadav has said.
प्रकार के जिस डॉक्टर के यहाँ से दवाई खरीदी गई थी उसी के यहाँ उनको वो बच्चों के डॉक्टर भी है और कंपनी के स्टॉकिस्ट भी वही थे, मेडिकल स्टोर भी उन्हीं का नाम का, उनकी पत्नी के नाम का। इसलिए प्रशासन ने कठोर कार्रवाई की है। दुख की इस घड़ी में मैं स्वयं भी आज शोक व्यक्त करने भी आया और इससे जुड़े हुए जो पक्ष है, हमने अपनी सरकार के माध्यम से मेडिकल इंस्पेक्टर, ड्रग से जुड़े हुए ड्रग कंट्रोलर को हटाया है, डिप्टी ड्रग कंट्रोलर पे कार्रवाई करने के लिए बताया है। जो संबंधित पक्ष है जिनकी लापरवाही पाई जाएगी, हमारी सरकार संवेदनशील सरकार है, ऐसी किसी लापरवाही को बर्दाश्त नहीं करेगी। मैं आज इस अवसर पर इतना ही कहना चाहूँगा कि हमने सबने प्रबंधन किए कि आगे ऐसी घटना न हो। मैं इतना भी बताना चाहूँगा कि कांग्रेस के लोग थोड़े इस घटना को राजनीतिक।
Okay, so that's a statement that's come in from the Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister, who's vowed that there will be a detailed inquiry followed up by action against whoever is responsible, whoever is to blame for the consumption of this toxic cough syrup that's led to so many deaths in Madhya Pradesh and in Rajasthan as well. Now, states are starting to crack the whip. Fortunately, they're waking up to the crisis at hand. Let's get you a news break now coming in from Kerala. Now, the Kerala government has announced that an advisory, a directive will be issued that no medicines will be given for those under 12 years of age without a prescription. So there must be a doctor's prescription, a slip for children to be able to consume the medicine, for them to be able to, for parents to be able to buy the medicine for kids under 12 years of age. Now, the focus particularly will be on cough syrups, on medication for cough. There's a 3-member expert panel that's been set up, and this comes even as Kerala, among many other states, has gone ahead and banned the sale of cold Riff cough syrup. So the Kerala government now also all set to go ahead and make it clear that parents cannot buy medicines for children under the age of 12 without a prescription from a doctor. It's 9 days on. What's happening as far as the investigation into the Tamil Nadu Stampede is concerned? Well, there was a fact-finding team of NDA MPs that had visited the spot, and now in their report, they've blamed the stampede on a complete administrative failure. Remember, 41 people had died in that Vijay rally. Now, this even as several social media accounts have targeted the Madras High Court judge, Justice Senthil Kumar, following his verdict and observations in the Karur stampede case. Why? We'll tell you in this report.
The NDA MP's fact-finding team that visited Karur Stampede site has blamed the tragedy on administrative failure and mismanagement. The team has concluded that the incident at the rally held by actor-turned-politician Vijay was entirely preventable and was caused by gross negligence on the part of local authorities. The report of NDA MPs accessed by India Today claims that Karur Stampede was a preventable disaster caused by administrative negligence. The report says an estimated 30,000 people were present at a venue which could accommodate only 2,000 to 3,000. Witnesses told MPs that Vijay threw water bottles into the crowd in an attempt to help. But as people bent to pick them up, many were crushed, with victims falling into open drains and were found dead later. The fact-finding team also found that the power supply failed moments after the chaos began, and the backup generator did not start, plunging the venue into darkness, adding to the panic. Meanwhile, the Congress said that the probe by Judicial Commission will bring out the actual truth.
The government of Tamil Nadu has acted swiftly. Particularly, the Chief Minister has been very kind. He has travelled quickly. He was not allowing his party people to do any kind of politics. We feel that let the Justice Aruna Jagdishan Commission's report comes, then we can go ahead with that thing.
Even as an SIT probe onto Karur Stampede is underway, a new controversy has erupted. Social media users targeted Justice Senthil Kumar of Madras High Court after CM M.K. Stalin was spotted at the wedding of the judge's family member. The cyber cell of police made multiple arrests as social media users accused Justice Senthil Kumar of having ties with the DMK. Last week during a hearing, Justice Senthil Kumar had slammed Vijay for fleeing the stampede spot on the fateful day that claimed over 40 lives. Meanwhile, during the hearing of a case related to defamatory content on social media, Justice Senthil Kumar said that personal attacks were being made involving family members and that such comments should be disregarded and ignored. He also said that the judges were criticized for issuing judicial orders in the past. Meanwhile, Rajya Sabha MP and MNM chief Kamal Hassan visited Karur and met the families of stampede victims.
It's been 9 days since 41 people died in Karur and a special investigation team is on the ground. NDA's fact-finding team claims that this is gross negligence and a disaster that could have been averted, and the judge who called in for the special investigation has become a target for online criticism, forcing the authorities to arrest 3 people and also warning of strict action. Not just it, Kamal Hassan has also gone to Karur, and while every other Neta has gone to Karur, question still arises, where is Vijay and Busi Anand? Daniel, Pramod Madhav, for Industry.
Rajya Sabha MP Makkalnidhi Mayam Chief Kamal Hassan also visited the Karur Stampede site. Speaking right after that, Kamal Hassan has thrown his weight behind the Tamil Nadu police. saying that we can't always target the police, saying don't complain about the police when we're supposed to thank them. Kamal Hassan has also maintained that the Chief Minister has acted rather respectfully, and he says the time now is to ensure that a tragedy like this doesn't happen again. Listen in to what Kamal Hassan said.
ஏன்னா இது சப்ஜூடிஸ் கோர்ட்டில் கேஸ் நடந்துட்டு இருக்கு. இதை பற்றி அதிகம் பேசக்கூடாது. நிறைய பேசிட்டாங்க எல்லாரும். இங்கே நாங்கள் வந்தது இவங்களுக்கு நீதி கிடைக்கிறதுக்கும் இவங்களுக்கு ஆறுதல் சொல்கிறதுக்கும். உங்ககிட்டலாம் ஒரு சின்ன வேண்டுகோள், இவங்களுக்கு கொஞ்சம் நிம்மதியாக இருக்க விடுங்க. என்ன பட்டுட்டாங்க பாடு. இப்போ கேள்விகள் கேட்டுட்டு இல்லாமல் இவங்களுக்கு என்ன வழி பண்ணுறது, இனிமே இந்த மாதிரி நடக்காமல் இருக்கிறதுக்கு என்ன பண்ணுறது.
A reminder that Vijay has been MIA for nearly 10 days now. There's no other way to put it. He's a leader who's disappeared when his people died. 41 people died in Karur in a stampede that broke out in Vijay's presence. He still hasn't bothered to visit Karur, to meet the injured, to console those who lost their family members. When tragedy strikes, leadership is tested not just in words, but in presence, in remorse, in taking responsibility. So far, Vijay has failed that test. What do you say, Mr. Vijay, to the grieving father whose image 9 days on I cannot forget, of how he held his dead child in his arms and grieved? What do you say, Mr. Vijay, to a mother who held on to her child, unwilling to let go of his body? In the hours, days, and even now, he's largely remained out of sight, not in hospitals receiving survivors, not in the homes of the grieving, not even in the corridors of public scrutiny. He's been in every sense MIA. He should have been there to listen, to see, to witness the suffering, especially when every single one of those deceased came there for him, was drawn to the event because of his name. If you invite thousands to gather in your name and tragedy ensues, you cannot step back into your bunker, issue statements from afar, from Chennai. The footprint of Vijay's leadership must be visible. The mark of his character is revealed in how really he responds when disaster knocks on his doorstep. And in this, it's very, very clear. And the public, in this case, will remember not just the tragedy, but how Vijay reacted. They'll judge leadership, not in all these massy rallies with crowds, but in the aftermath of it. This is a reminder to Mr. Vijay. If you're listening, sir, now is not the time to act like a high and mighty politician. Now is not the time to act like a superstar. Now is the time to show sincerity, regret, most importantly, just a bit of humanity. We hope Mr. Vijay is listening, because this right now, his absence is speaking volumes. A reminder that Vijay has been missing now for over 9 days from Karur.